11 Alive News at 11 p.m. starts now.
On this Sunday night, first on 11 Alive, the city of Atlanta has once again been hit hard by the death of a teenager at the end of a gun. This happened last night along Martin Luther King Jr. Drive on the city's southwest side, close to the interchange with the perimeter and I-20. 11 Alive's Dawn White first brought us this story tonight at 6. She joins us now with the very latest on this tragic sequence of events. Dawn?
Jeff, the Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office has identified that boy as Deshaun DuBose, and they say that he was shot twice. We have learned Deshaun went to Drew Charter School, and one of his teachers, who was too distraught to go on camera, says Deshaun was kind, gentle, and volunteered in his community. The young and promising life of 13-year-old Deshaun DuBose came to a sudden and tragic end here along Martin Luther King Jr. Drive in southwest Atlanta just before 11:30 Saturday evening.
At this day, age of lifetime, I mean, it's a crazy world. I mean, it's a lot going on right now. So, but a 13-year-old, expecting that to happen. So, yeah, I was shocked.
Isaac Beard has lived in this area all his life.
To be honest, it's not all the way 100% good. I mean, it's a mixed neighborhood, but we still hear a lot of gunshots going on around here in this neighborhood. But overall, it's not a bad neighborhood.
Atlanta police say EMS took Deshaun to Grady Hospital, where he was pronounced dead.
I don't know what could have happened for a 13-year-old to get shot. Like I said, it could have been coming from Cascade Skating Ring around 11:30, because that's the time Cascade be closed.
I reached out to Atlanta police to see if they had any suspects. A spokesperson told me they have nothing more to release at this time, as it's an ongoing and active investigation. We are going to stay on this story and bring you the latest information as soon as we get it.
All right, Don, thank you. The shooting death brought reaction tonight from City Council member Andrea Boone. In a statement to 11 Alive, she described this as a somber time for our community, adding, quote, "To see this type of violence is deeply disturbing." You can read her full statement online. 11alive.com is your place. On to meteorologist Nicole Hartford with an overview of our weather, past, present, and future for the most part. Right, Nicole?
Yeah, and unfortunately the future, at least the near future, does look a little bit like the past, at least what we've seen throughout the day today. It's still really dreary out there, especially with fog development. We're up to 2 miles in Atlanta when it comes to visibility, but we're still seeing patchy areas of dense fog through the overnight hours. I think these locations will likely change. We'll see some spots go down in visibility, others come up, but I don't think this becomes widespread dense fog. We could still be dealing with this into early tomorrow morning as well, but I think the closer we get to the sunrise, the clearer we will start to get. This is our view right now over downtown Atlanta, looking away from the city. The King and the Queen should be right there. We're actually seeing a little bit more of them than we were just a half hour ago, but as I mentioned, we'll continue to see that fog throughout the overnight. That'll lead to a little bit of a light drizzle. And in addition to the drizzle associated with the fog, we also have a few isolated showers. It's not much, especially when you compare it to what our radar was looking like earlier today, but some spotty showers will linger into the overnight hours. By the time you're waking up tomorrow morning, temperatures are in the 30s, so it is going to be a cold start, but a mainly dry start. So your morning commute should go off without a hitch, at least weather-wise. The cool air is here to stay. Rain is out of the forecast for a couple days, but we will not manage to go very long without it when it returns. Coming up.
All new at 11, 2 people are now charged in connection with the shooting of a 3-year-old boy at a Douglas County hotel. Here's what we know. The call came around 9:30 on Saturday morning to the In-Town Suites in Lithia Springs. This is near the I-20 interchange with Thornton Road. Douglasville PD telling 11 Alive they arrested the 2 suspects earlier today. Their ages 23 and 29. They are now both charged with aggravated assault, second-degree cruelty to children, reckless conduct, false statements, and tampering with evidence. Investigators said they are still working to figure out how this child was shot. And at this hour, we simply do not know the boy's condition. A party turned deadly late last night in Brookhaven. In all, 4 men shot, 1 being killed. This was along Buford Highway, just north of North Druid Hills Road. Brookhaven police now saying the person who was killed was found inside the apartment. However, the gathering did include a tent set up outside.
That the party took place in the overnight hours, and the individuals that were involved may have continued to party and consume alcohol inside the apartment into the early morning hours this morning.
Police have not said who shot who or if there were multiple shooters. They did say, however, that they are not looking for any suspects. The names of those shot have not been released. Downtown Atlanta, quiet tonight after a burst of violence rushed through the streets on Saturday night. Protesters walked up from underground Atlanta about 5 p.m. on Saturday evening, and in their wake, buildings were damaged. At least one Atlanta Police Squad car was destroyed. The catalyst for all of this came Wednesday when 26-year-old Manuel Esteban Paez Tehran was shot and killed by the Georgia State Patrol. This was at the Atlanta Police and Fire Training Center, now under construction in DeKalb County, a site that has been dubbed as Cop City by opponents. That same day, police said they made 7 arrests at the site. None of those demonstrators were from our state. Tonight, Atlanta police released the names and mugshots of those arrested last night. APD telling us that all 6 are now facing 8 charges, including domestic terrorism. Only one of these 6 is said to be from Georgia. Graham Evett, 20 years old, out of Decatur. Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens addressed last night's unrest this morning during an appearance on the CBS News program Face the Nation.
And it was peaceful, but there were some individuals within that crowd that meant violence. They had explosives, they burned down a police car, they broke windows at businesses, and so our police department, along with our state and federal partners, took swift action within 2 blocks and brought that situation under control, and the violence stopped, and those 6 individuals were arrested.
As the sun rose this Sunday, those working and living in downtown Atlanta tried to pick up the pieces. The hardest hit locations from the damage were all along Peachtree Street, branch office locations for Wells Fargo and Truist, as well as the entrance to the 191 Peachtree Tower. Outside these locations, the brooms were out, and the residents in the area were getting their first safe look at the aftermath. This includes Joshua Schaefer. He says he lives about a mile down the road from where everything transpired, and that he understands why the demonstrators are passionate. However, Schaefer adds there is another way to make your points.
Definitely a better way to demonstrate. I'm definitely for peace, and I'm against firearms, and so yes, it could have been handled much differently.
Protesters have opposed the facility on environmental and historical grounds, saying it would decimate one of the largest preserved forest areas in the city of Atlanta. The hunt for a person who opened fire during a California Lunar New Year celebration is now over. Los Angeles County Sheriff made the announcement a short time ago.
He is a 72-year-old male Asian. I can confirm that there are no outstanding suspects from the mass shooting incident that occurred in the city of Monterey Park.
Late tonight, authorities found the suspect dead of a self-inflicted gunshot wound in a van that he used to get away. Before this, authorities say the suspect killed 10 people at a ballroom in the LA suburb of Monterey Park. Along with the dead, 10 more people were wounded. With them, 7 are still in the hospital being taken care of. The sheriff says no other suspects were at large, and the motive for this attack remains unclear. 50 years ago today, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled on the case Roe v. Wade. In that 7-2 decision, the justices ruled that the Constitution of the United States conferred the right for a woman to choose to have an abortion. Thousands of abortion rights activists rallied across the country today to mark the anniversary, including here in Atlanta, outside of the state capitol. The anniversary comes just a few months after the U.S. Supreme Court overturned the landmark legislation. Vice President Harris led the national call for those who back abortion rights, and once again calling on Congress to stand with the Biden administration.
We know this fight will not be won until we secure this right for every American. Congress must pass a bill that protects freedom and liberty. A bill that protects reproductive rights, and President Biden will sign it.
Georgia's current law, dubbed the Heartbeat Law, restricts doctors from performing abortion services After about 6 weeks of gestation, but state law doesn't clearly restrict women who want abortions from obtaining abortion medication themselves. It is this loophole in the legislation which anti-abortion advocates like Susan Guy are hoping to reverse.
My heart is so much for the women. Yes, I want to see full protection for those innocent human beings in the womb that deserve full protection. But I have a deep passion for women, and I want them to know that they are loved, that there is hope, and that abortion will never solve the very real problems that women face.
Last year, under the Gold Dome, lawmakers took up a bill to make it illegal to provide abortion-inducing drugs via courier delivery or mail service. That bill never got a vote, but with Roe overturned, backers say the bill is now a pro-life priority in the current session. We have a lot more news coming your way in the next 19 minutes. When we come back on 11 Alive News at 11, you will hear from a woman who was caught in the crossfire of the shooting which killed Atlanta rapper Takeoff. Learn about her struggle for survival and her call for accountability. It has been nearly 3 months since Atlanta Migos rapper Takeoff was shot to death. This happened outside of a bowling alley in Houston, which was hosting a private party that the rapper was attending. 2 other people were injured in that shooting, and one of them, Sidney Leday. On Friday night at 11, we shared with you some powerful stories. Tonight, Grace White from our station in Houston brings us more from Sidney, as well as her mother, who is calling for accountability.
What has this been like as a mom to watch your daughter go through this?
Oh, as a mom, it's from the beginning, it's been like she said, it's unreal. It's like Halloween weekend just haven't stopped.
Sakara Lowry remembers the moment she got the call.
Just to hear the words from your child, Mom, I've been shot in my head. You know, like, you're like, what? Like, what are you saying?
On the phone was her daughter, Sidney Leday. She was at the same private party in downtown Houston where rapper Takeoff was shot and killed.
So you went straight to the hospital. What happened when you got there?
We stood outside in the cold and rain under the carport with the police because we couldn't go in for like 7 hours.
That must have been torture.
It was. The police were trying to be as helpful as they could, but they didn't know, her situation because they were out there with me, and they had to secure the hospital so that if it was a threat to her, not knowing who the shooters were, not knowing if they were followed to the hospital.
She says her daughter was listed at the hospital under an alias for security.
So 7 hours later, you get to your daughter. What did you see?
Basically, the picture that I posted on her GoFundMe is what I saw. She had a tube. To me, she looked like she was dead. Me being a mom. Just something I'll never forget.
Just 2 days before, her mom and her pictured here, celebrating her 24th birthday. She was out celebrating too, the night it all happened, and dressed up for Halloween. This picture taken before the shooting.
The place that it hit in my head, I just feel like it was a miracle.
Where did it hit? Can you point to it for us? In the back?
Yeah, I have a big bald spot right there.
This is not all about celebrity. This is about human beings.
Waverly Nolly is an attorney representing the family.
A private party such as this is something that doesn't occur all the time. Therefore, you should employ more measures than normal because this is not a normal crowd.
Do you want someone to be held accountable for what happened that night to your daughter?
I do, because she didn't ask for that. If you just, I know you can't, you can go to Walmart and something can happen. But if you're out, you're just having a good time, you're in an establishment, I feel like you should be safe enough to go home.
Leday is home, but life looks a lot different. After a week in the hospital and having her head stitched back together, she's still healing.
There's no planning for any of it. It's no planning with her having nightmares. She was constantly nauseated. She couldn't eat. The anxiety, the constant emotions, just out of nowhere, she's crying.
Ladae has always had big dreams. She's from Houston, but got her Associates of Art degree from the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising in Los Angeles. She started her own jewelry business during the pandemic and says she's always had a knack for being creative.
I do know things happen for a reason. So I still have hope for her future.
A future her mom says her daughter deserves, even more now.
And I just know God is so good because he didn't have to keep her here, but he did. So we have to live our life a different way, just being grateful.
The widespread rain has moved out. The cold front associated with it has also made it mostly through the state. You can see where we're still seeing areas of heavier rainfall, but across metro Atlanta, just a few isolated showers. These are few and far between. They're producing only light to moderate rain, but we'll continue to see a couple of these hit and miss showers through the overnight hours as well. So we're not completely out of the woods when it comes to rainfall just yet, but we are close. A couple showers may linger even into early tomorrow morning, close to the sunrise. And if we're able to keep some of those showers around as temperatures drop down to near or below freezing exclusively at elevation in the North Georgia mountains, you may see a couple flurries there. It's not going to be impactful, just don't want it to catch you off guard. For the rest of us, we'll be mainly dry by that time, and temperatures will be above freezing across much of North Georgia anyway. We're talking mid to upper 30s, so still a cold start to your work week, but at least a dry one. The lingering cloud cover, any patchy fog we still have, that's going to be clearing out to mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies throughout the day on Monday for an overall really nice day. It will be chilly, but keep in mind it's January after all. High temperatures will be getting up into the mid to upper 40s. Some spots south of the metro area could see some 50s. That only puts us about 5 degrees below average, which isn't terrible. But if you like it a little bit warmer, temperatures will start to warm into Tuesday and Wednesday. It's not much, but a little bit of a warm up into the 50s by Tuesday and then 60s for Wednesday. Your morning temperatures will still be cold, especially Tuesday morning. We'll actually see a widespread freeze for much of the area Monday night and then into early Tuesday morning. The trade-off for the little bit of warmth is going to be the influx of some rainfall. Our next storm system is already brewing off towards the west. This storm system is going to come with another drop in temperature, so we won't be in the 60s for very long, but also the potential for some rainfall. This is a strong storm system. It'll lead to snowfall across portions of Texas, as well as into the Midwest. This will eject a cold front as it comes through the Atlanta area, but for us, temperatures will not be cold enough to see snow associated with this system. What we'll get is scattered showers as well as some isolated storms. So rain will start to work its way back into the forecast by late Tuesday night, but really early Wednesday morning and then through portions of the day Wednesday. That's when I think much of the rain will take place. Associated with this cold front, there will be a risk for severe weather down towards the south and the west of us, with that slight level 2 risk extending from Louisiana into Mississippi, Alabama, as well as the Florida Panhandle. This just barely makes it to the Georgia state line, but I think in the Atlanta area throughout North Georgia, our temperatures are going to be so cool that our atmosphere is a little more stable. So it won't really be conducive for strong to severe weather. We're still going to keep a lookout for storms. I think we could still see some gusty winds, some lightning, some thunder, especially into early on Wednesday. So that is something we'll be watching closely as we move into this week. The rain moves out quickly though, comes in Tuesday night. It's gone by Thursday morning. We'll clear out to more sunshine by the end of the week. Temperatures do stay cold though. Your overnight lows will get down to near or below freezing Tuesday morning, Friday morning, and then again on Saturday morning.
All right, coming up in sports, lots to talk about. The divisional round in the books today brought plenty of actions, plenty of snow, and a lot of disappointment in Western New York. Reggie Chapman has the highlights after the break.
Welcome back, everybody. This year, the city of Atlanta has nobody to root for directly in the NFL playoffs, but coming into today, there was a chance to see a playoff game in the city if both the Bills and Chiefs won. KC did their job on Saturday. How did the Bills fare on Sunday? So we head out to Orchard Park and see what happened. Bills-Bengals on a snowy day, scoreless game. First quarter action. First Bengals drive. Joe Burrow evades some pressure. Man, he's so good. Hits Jamar Chase. 2 LSU products. Getting it done. 7-0 Cincy. And check out the gritty. Oh, it's good. Mine's good too. Josh Allen, not so good in this game. This touchdown, though, cut the game to 7, but he didn't play well at all. The Bengals ran away with it and head back to the AFC title game to face the Chiefs next weekend with a big win. All right, let's talk about the Bay Area Cowboys 49ers. Cowboys tied at 6 with his touchdown here. Now their kicker, Brett Maher, who missed 4 extra points last week, gets this one blocked. I mean, it's hilarious at this point. I was laughing. We couldn't believe it. Tied at 9, though. Christian McCaffrey scores from 2 yards out. They'd hold on and win this one. 19-12. The final Niners headed back to the NFC title game with face-off against the Eagles. All right, as the football season marches towards its conclusion, baseball season is on the horizon. No better example than that when the Braves Fest happened this weekend at Truist Park. A cool chance for fans to interact with the players and even try out to be the public address announcer. This team is headed and ready for the next season.
We've done a good job, I think, now that you're going to see the core group of these guys here every year for this thing, which is, I think what Alex does, man, and keeping those young quality guys around. And, so I know just talking to all the new guys, they've already had a great time. They've been very impressed, I think, number one, with the facility, the enthusiasm here, everything that's gone on. I think they're really glad to be here.
I'm really glad and really excited to be able to watch the games this upcoming season. It should be a fun year. Braves pitchers and catchers are scheduled to report for spring training on February 16th. All right, that's it for sports. Thanks for watching, everybody. More news after commercial break.
The showers are moving out and the sunshine will be returning. Temperatures are still going to be chilly tomorrow and the sun won't be back for long. We'll stay mostly sunny to partly cloudy into Tuesday, and then rain is back in the forecast Tuesday night and into Wednesday. Your 7-day outlook does include a lot of cool air, overnight lows in the 30s and the 40s, high temperatures in the 40s and the 50s.
You sound like one of those motivational speakers on those webinars.
Just trying to get you excited about it.
Sunshine is coming, it's fleeting, but then she'll return.
I need some soft music.
Yeah. Have a good week.